Good morning, everyone. So before we really start, just a quick imagine exercise. Imagine you're in a company where you have over 500 workspaces, more than 3,000 users on those workspaces creating their data workloads, and more than 100,000 jobs running daily on average, and the weekend a little bit lower. In your imagination, based on your experiences, would that estate be perfectly clean and organized, or do you see some waste, some failures, some underutilized clusters? Definitely, if you look around in our company's estate, you'll see some things you can optimize. And that's what this session is about. It's about me telling you how we try to optimize our data estate. Little statement that everything I say you can't take for granted, and I don't promise you anything, blah, 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 blah. Don't forget to complete your survey after the session or right away, whatever. So let's have a quick teaser about the solution we have built to help us to monitor our Databricks landscape. This is a Power BI dashboard. On the left side, you'll see a navigation hierarchy. And the Databricks monitor is now where we are in, and you'll see immediately like more than 10 pages in the Databricks monitor. We have many things we can monitor with our solution. And one example here is the recommendations page. And this sort of spoon feeds a couple of recommendations that me and my buddy Marius have designed to help the users in the organization, maybe management, maybe engineers, to just know what they can optimize. We'll dive into these pages later on a little bit more. The agenda of the session, I'm going to introduce my company, ABN AMRO, a little bit, and what we do with Databricks. And then I'll show you what we have built, how we have built it. We use system tables for the solution, so we'll talk about that. And I think maybe the most important thing is the challenges, the pitfalls, the learnings that we have perceived. I want to share that with you to make your journey as smooth as possible. So, quick introduction. ABN AMRO Bank, it's one of the 3 major banks in the Netherlands. It's a global bank. Some people know it, some people don't. 25,000 employees, quite big. A main office in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, but also a good presence in all over Europe. What do we do with Databricks? We've been using it for a while now. We have quite substantial number of workspaces, over 500 actively used. We actually have 1,200 workspaces, but those include the ones that are about to be decommissioned, etc. 3,000 active monthly users, that's also a lot. Many of them use it daily and weekly. And our platform is the platform within the bank for data and AI workloads. That's why it's also used that much. And we started using Unity Catalog about 2 years ago. Whenever it was available, we started to embrace it, and now it's the standard to use for managing our data. And we have a close collaboration with Databricks. A couple of people in the room as well, thank you. So that really helps to be on top of all the things that is happening. And as I said, as you can imagine, if your Databricks estate is this large, you can look around and there's not a lot. You don't have to look around a lot to quickly find something to optimize. So me and my buddy Marius in the Netherlands, my teammate, he's not here, but we looked at that and we couldn't be a bystander of that, so we wanted to change that. We saw clusters running 24/7, and we wanted to do something about that. Like it touched our hearts. We don't really care about the cost of the platform, but we do care about the waste, the footprint of the environment. A lot of energy is consumed by the stuff that we're running in Databricks, so we want to optimize that. Don't have waste. So what do we do? We educated, we rolled out policies, tagging, mandatory training, but in the end, we did feel like we were just doing it manually everywhere. We didn't have the scale yet. So to support our work, we created a little monitoring solution. We started small, deployed it to a couple of workspaces, and the people using that workspace, they had lots of success. They reduced terabytes of data. They could monitor their filled jobs a little bit better, and it reduced the footprint of we optimized the footprint. But we struggled to scale it up. We couldn't deploy this decentral solution to all of the hundreds of workspaces. That would be undoable. We were not the admins of those workspaces. So yeah, that wasn't it was a dead end for us to really move further. And at the same time, the organization stepped up their sustainability goals. It's becoming really important for the bank. And they give it more priority. They knock on the door and say, hey, what does Databricks do? How like the people managing Databricks within the bank, how can we improve that? Those two things was a driving force for us to put our feet on the table and think, what can we improve? What would be best to focus on? And in the end, we decided to make our solution more lean, more green, and more agile. And those things are sort of the fundament under what we do. It's a bit blah blah marketing, but it really is. The green thing is really important for us, but also the lean. We think we need to reduce everything to only the stuff that we really need, that we really use. And the agile thing is, if the platform is using the latest technology, latest runtimes, you're able to adjust really quickly to what Databricks offers, to what your company says. Okay, now we need to do Gen AI. Well, fine. We can just really quickly adopt that by being agile and being on top of the things. And that has impact on the green side of things as well. The later runtimes, they are more optimized, faster, with the same cost. So why not use them, right? All right, and then to scale up to our impact, we needed more awareness, more knowledge sharing. We needed the people to be self-sufficient. It's no longer Dave and Marius having a meeting with people. They can just look at our report and study it, use it, and become more self-sufficient. And they do the stuff themselves now. And with that new solution, we also introduced sort of a better language to talk about GreenOps within the bank. It's a bit fake and indirect, but management and engineering, they don't share the same language. So if you talk about a cluster, maybe an engineer understands it, but if you go deeper, sometimes they just disconnect. And with our report, they both share the same definitions and language. So that really helps for both of them to talk the same language, and that helps to make it even more easy to optimize the platform. Those are all nice goals, but how do we do that? Well, we need to give the people insights into the things they can improve. Simple as that. So we wanted to spoon feed them these insights about cluster utilization, auto-termination, job successes, runtimes that are on really old runtimes, etc. And for us to also give the information to the right people, we needed the organizational mapping to be part of that as well. With only a workspace name, the management, they don't know what that is, right? They see a GUID or something, maybe a name, but we also wanted to have the proper domain and departure mapping. And ideally, we would have footprint metrics, sustainability metrics. That was really a challenge as well. Databricks doesn't supply that by default. We only have the DBUs, maybe some dollar metrics, but things about energy consumption, it's something you need to do yourself. So that's also a bit about why not use the out-of-the-box insights. Today I learned that tomorrow a lot of things will be announced, and today many new things are shipped by Databricks, but still it's still focused on the operations. They do a better job now with these improved dashboards, with identifying trends, etc. But we need footprint metrics, and that's still not there. And also, we need to tie it to our own goals, our own regulated context, and we need the the global scale within our company, of course. And some of the dashboards are still local. They're workspace level dashboards. So yeah, that doesn't really work for us. So we build our own solution. The picture is a bit simplified, and I also focus today on the system table as a major source. We do have other things in our monitor that we read from other places as well, but let's focus today on this picture. We have a Unity Catalog view layer and a Power BI solution on top of that, with a semantic model reports bundled into an app that we make available within Power BI. Power BI within ABN AMRO is the BI platform, the reporting platform. Maybe in the future that might change a bit. People might do more in Databricks. I'm looking forward to that, to experiment with that. But for now, Power BI is like the place where also the management lives. They know how Power BI works. So for us to distribute this, the Power BI app was the best solution. What do you need to get something like this really working? A couple of Databricks workspaces, and they need to be Unity Catalog enabled. If you don't have that yet, at least get one where you can develop a solution like this, because you need Databricks system table access, and that is a requirement. You need a Unity Catalog enabled workspace to be able to access the system tables. I'll talk about it later a bit, but if you have just one workspace and maybe 10 or 100 more, those will show up in your system tables as well, not only the Unity Catalog enabled workspaces. So that's nice. And for this solution, you of course need also Power BI workspaces. Then let's show more of our solution. As I said, we have dozens of pages, but I want to show you just a couple of examples, and later on maybe I can demo more one-on-one. So this is the consumption trend page. This helps as a starting point. It looks nice, management likes it, but it only shows the data in like a account level way. It's good for us to monitor what's the bigger average, the bigger trend. And it's pretty stable. You see some dips in the weekends. That's really interesting to see. Over the holiday period in January, December, we also saw a major dip, but then we recovered, and it's the same again. And what's really, what people use a lot is the table. I had to obfuscate a lot of the data, but you get the idea. Every row in that table is a domain, and you can see the consumption per domain. So the domain owners are really interested. They don't want to be, or maybe they do want to be the top consuming domain. And Power BI by its nature has interactive clickability. So if you click, for instance, on the left side on SQL, the whole dashboard would focus on that. So you can understand quickly who in the company is using SQL warehouses and who is maybe not yet. Then this recommendation page, I already discussed it a little bit, but it's the thing in the middle with the colors, that plot, that's also really interesting for the users. They really like to compare themselves to their peers. They don't want to be at the top, the bottom left corner. That's where they have the largest spend, the biggest footprint, and the largest potential of savings. Our recommendations identify a savings that's quantifiable, and the more you have, the more you are in the bottom left corner. So people ideally move to the purple or the blue section to have an optimized way of using Databricks. And that also really clicked with management. Now they are engaged. And the engineers, the proper engineers, the good ones, they already were engaged. They were actively using, they were knocking on my door saying, hey, you report this, but can you explain what can I do? But management was like, yeah, okay, you have this report, whatever. But now here with this visualizations, they are really engaged. So that helped us. Lower on this page, we have the three recommendations. First one is usage of spot virtual machines. Those are machines that are unused Azure capacity that you can just take when it's available at a deep discount. It's only 10% of the VM cost. So that's really a good thing to use. There are some it depends scenarios, like you can't use it for every scenario, but for many you can. So if you click on that recommendation, you'll dive into the details, and that's also really important to take away from this session. We need both the top-level management metrics, but also the details need to be one click away. You need to be able to look at, okay, what cluster is that? Why do you report that as a recommendation to save and optimize? These rows in these tables are individual clusters, and if you click on the name, you'll even jump to the Databricks workspace to then maybe change it directly. Management won't do that. Maybe they are not part of the workspace even, but the engineers like me, we can. So then, boom, quickly we can reduce the size of the cluster or change it to a spot cluster. Going back to this page, the second recommendation is about preventing failed workloads. Failed workloads don't deliver any value. They just compute something, boom, they fail, but yet they induce cost and footprint. So we need to limit that. And if you click on that recommendation, you'll end up at this page where you get an overview of all the failed jobs over your scope. If a domain owner is looking, they can slice it on their domain workspace, on their workspace, etc. You get the idea. And this gives a trend, and also they can slice. At the top right, you see the status. So if you only want to look at the timeouts or the failed jobs, they click, and the rest of the page will filter to that selection. It's really valuable for people to identify the failed workloads. And what we think is something we recommend to improve is anything lower than 75% success rate. It's a bit arbitrary. Maybe 80, 90 is the new level, but yeah, we think 75 is okay for now. We'll be more strict in the future, I guess. If people are like all at the 75 or higher, then we set the bar a bit higher. But now there's many jobs failing. Even my own jobs. The decentral solution is still running, and on some workspaces it's failing 100% of the time, and I just didn't notice. I get emails, but I get a lot of emails, so it helps a lot. All right, so that's this page. Another example is this page that offers consumption per job. You can look at all the job and its runs in the selected period. This is 1 month or 3 months. It's at the top left corner. And there's many metrics to order and select and filter to identify improvements. And if you click on one job, the graph at the bottom will show the runs of that job. So here you see a couple of quick job runs, but then also a couple of really long durations. Maybe that's okay and expected. Maybe there was a peak in data, but maybe not. Maybe something else happened. And the longer your job runs, the more compute it costs. So, yeah, maybe you should look at this. And the good thing about this report is that it's really quick to identify the outliers. If you go to each workspace, each job, yeah, it takes a lot longer. You don't do it. Now it's just spoon-fed into your monitor, basically. And then this one, also really useful. It's about cluster utilization, compute utilization. All the clusters in your organization. As I said, we have 100,000 jobs per day. That's a lot of clusters. Orange means underutilization. You can reduce the cluster definition. Those metrics are also available in the Databricks workspace. But who clicks on every job and then goes to the metrics page? Nobody does. So you only do it when you're like, hey, this job failed, or why is it taking longer than normal? Then you go to the metrics. Otherwise, you don't. So when it's running fine, it's fast, right? Yeah, but it's fast because it's like really oversized. So this example, there were some occasions where the utilization was reaching 100% really shortly, but the rest, it didn't do anything. It's like 5% CPU. So you should look at that as an owner of this cluster. Another example, the same page, but this shows a cluster that's properly sized. But if you look at the right side, you have the driver and the worker nodes. Look at the driver, that's orange. It doesn't do a lot. So with this cluster definition, probably we can reduce the driver configuration. The workers are probably properly scaled, but the driver can be tweaked. And the top table also immediately shows the size of the driver and the worker. So you can immediately see, oh, okay, 96 scores. That's maybe a bit much. If it's already at 8, well, let it be. Yeah, there's other things to focus on that have more impact. Okay, that's the quick tour of our pages. We have many more, but yeah, I think let's focus on how we built this. Where do we get the data? Databricks system tables, as I said. They contain the operational data of all the workspaces in your account. As I said, not only the not only the Unity Catalog workspaces, but also the non-Unity Catalog workspaces. And they're stored in your region, but in the Azure Databricks storage account. So be mindful that when you need access to the tables, you'll need to cover the networking part as well. There's many tables, 25 and counting. I think this week they're adding more. So it's sometimes hard to keep track. The documentation is quite good, helps you with the ERD like this, but yeah, you just need to start working with it. A couple of notes on it. You might want to consider enabling schema evolution in what you're building on top of the schemas, because new columns can be added just sort of randomly, not randomly, but at any time. That's what I mean. And yeah, you wanna be able to consume those, at least not fill your views or your jobs on top of this. It's not real time, so if you're looking for something like that, System Tables is not the place to get that data. If you have like a daily refresh and you think, okay, the lag is a bit too much, maybe refresh a couple times a day, because data is added throughout the day to these tables. And lastly, there is a free retention period for this data. As I said, it's in their storage account at Databricks. They pay for it. Within that free period, it's costless. But the retention period is a year for most of the tables. Sometimes the tables are 30 or 90 days. So look at that. If you need more, yeah, reach out to your account team, and then they can probably extend that, maybe with a cost or not, I don't know. And to use these system tables, you need 3 things in place. It's important. It can be a bit complex as well, so I wanted to give you this. An account admin needs to enable most of the schemas, and that's a little command that they need to run once per schema. Account admin. So if you're not, then you can't do this yourself. You need to find that friend in your organization. And as I said, you need to grant network access to the storage account. This can be a hassle in your company, I don't know. Within ABN AMRO, it's a regulatory environment, it's a bank. Firewall opening up to the public, it's a big deal. So there's a process to do that. We needed to document that, and then we got it in place. And lastly, they are a catalog, the system tables, just as any other Unity catalog. So you need to grant access to be able to read from it. That's maybe the simplest part to do. All right. Before we dive into the last part about the challenges, the pitfalls, the learnings, I want to briefly touch a very important topic, security. Until now, I said just share everything, give insights. And it's good. This transparency gives you trust and accountability within the users of the bank and in your organization. It enables collaboration and learnings from each other, but some data is sensitive. Most of the data is metadata, but as I say, it's just data as well, right? So look at the company policies you have for sharing data. If it's PII, the audit table might contain, or does contain PII data. So yeah, look at that. Verify what you can do within the rules within your company. Databricks also says with that black comment that only admins have access, and if you want to share certain tables, they advise to have some row-level security or views, dynamic views, that when Department A is looking, that they only see Department A's data. And that's an important thing. We do that as well in our solution. All right, the challenges. We struggled with some things. It was a learning curve, it was nice, but one of them is the volume of our data. We have hundreds of millions of records in some of these system tables. That's because of our data state. Maybe in your environment it's a little lower, and then you don't have this struggle, but Power BI semantic model that we have, we constantly need to look at that. Like this new table that we want to add, how many records is it? Power BI can handle hundreds of millions of records, that's fine, but the system tables also have a lot of columns, and they're usually also like strings. So that's easier not that easy to get into Power BI. The next thing is the metrics. By default, you have US dollars, and we live in the Netherlands. We need euros. So we have a euro conversion, and we need energy consumption in kilowatt hours. We need CO2 emissions. That was really hard to set up. We have our calculation now. Is it perfect? No. We have some data over the years, but Microsoft and also Databricks, they don't share a lot about this. So we had to just search around, use some research papers, and then we now have something, but it would be really nice if this was made easier. So reach out if you also struggle with this, then we can help. And then, as I said earlier, tagging and mapping is important. Domains, teams, environments, production versus development. We need that. And the only thing you can really do that is via tagging of the objects. So make that mandatory. Have some policies for that. Then this becomes quite easy to do. Then the pitfalls. Marius and me were both engineers originating in from the data warehousing BI. So we always think more data is more better. Give us data. But there's a lot of things to find in the system tables. So sometimes you just need to put the brake on and think about your users. They don't need 20 slicers to work with, filters, whatever. Maybe I would use that, but they need a simple dashboard. Just it works out of the box. That's your aim. And we were also struggling. We do it better now to connect with our audience. We were in our cubicle, just developing the report, add more data, more sources, more pages. But you also need to just talk to them and say, hey, we have this page, use it, and then the impact. Then you make the impact, right? So that's something we sometimes need to focus on a little bit more. And we have made a Power BI report because that's where our users are. The management is there. Think about your situation. Maybe you have Tableau or other reporting tools. It's a pitfall to just use your comfortable zone. Maybe if you're a Databricks engineer, you want to make a Databricks dashboard, but that's maybe not what your user wants to have. And we overestimated the knowledge of our users. We still do. It's a pitfall. When we say, hey, just use spot VMs, they don't know. Maybe some of them do, but many of them are like, what? Spot VMs? Yeah, that's a checkbox. I never touched that. So don't overestimate what they know, and add some links to pages where they can learn what you're talking about. And the learnings that I want to give, like what we over time learned, keep it simple. The KISS principle is really important. In the beginning, we had a whole silver gold medallion architecture for our solution. That was overkill. A couple of views were fine. And now, when there's a new column, we have schema evolution, so it automatically is added in the Power BI semantic model. And that's really, really nice for us. It makes it a lot easier to maintain. We do lean on the retention of the system tables. We don't copy the data ourselves yet. So that's something that we're gonna focus on soon. I talked with Kaan about that. Like, maybe we need to extend the retention or copy it, have a separate process to copy some data. Yeah, still keep it simple. I think I talked about to reach the top, you need the bottom as well. It's like both ways. And over time, the system tables got known more and more and more. There's now lineage in there. A lot of users want to use the system tables within the bank. And over time, we sort of became the go-to guys for that. But yeah, sometimes it's hard. We like to educate, but also we are not the gatekeepers of that data. Other people in the bank are. So we forward them to that. And lastly, the recommendations for us was really like a level up. Before that, we just had the other pages with all the details. You could just find everything in there. But like the aggregation on top of that, where do you need to look at? What is really what I can do? That's the recommendations page that we started 6 months ago. And now we're adding and adding more to that, because that's what goes around, what gets screenshotted and sent to other managers. Like, you need to focus on that. It says you can save 50,000 euros. Go do that. And otherwise, yeah, before that, it wasn't like crystal clear. All right. To conclude, I really want to urge you to just take the first steps. Just go, build something small. Every action you do counts. Every cluster you optimize. And you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to me. Happy to help. Even I can do some consultancy to build it together with you. And we have some time for Q&A. But yeah, really start today, reach out to me, and we can shape tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.